Happy? Good. With Chris Locke.
Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for joining me again on another episode of Happy Good with Chris Locke, who is me, as you know. So, thank you so much. Before I get going and talking about relaxing, nonsense, fun stuff, I want to thank you all so much for your support and lots of nice compliments on social media, and I'm getting some great feedback, so thanks for checking it out. It means a lot to me. This is really fun to do, and that's exactly what I wanted to do, was make people laugh and relax and feel good. Because, as we all know, the world right now is dark place. It's evil is taken over, and we're kind of all cowering in our caves. And will one hero save us? Yes. Me? No. I don't think so. We don't have heroes so far in real life, like Thor or Captain America or the Punisher. Well, there are lots of guys in right now that are just like the Punisher, but I don't know. Are they heroes? That's kind of weird, right? They just kind of sit atop of buildings and snipe people out with military. Anyways, let's not go there, right? It's we're washing all that stuff out. So let's start maybe by doing the deep breathing so we can wash all that dark negativity and violence right out of us. Let's do some deep breaths first. In deep through the nose. And out, big long breath. And if you're like me and you had a couple martinis last night and some pizza, some homemade pizza on Cobb's fresh pizza dough that they sell, 2 to a pack, you will feel like taking a deep breath like that is a little hard right now. But let's do one more. Get all that dark, thick, awful terror goo outside of our mouth like a poltergeist being exercised. Picture a gooey plasmic poltergeist coming out of your mouth of this next time. So breathe in deep through the nose. And out comes the evil. One more for good measure. In. And out. So long, evil poltergeist. Nice to know ya, sucker. Peace. It's just us now in a nice, happy zone. Fresh. Feeling fresh. You guys are all great people. Good people. You're doing good. No matter what the adversity may feel like all around you, inside your core you are good. And you feel good and you know it. And it's easy for you to let that out because it's always there inside you. It's not hard to let that shine and spread within you and blast out of your eyes like light beams, like you're some sort of sentient light creature from outer space, just hiding in a shell of human flesh, like a spy here to report back to your planet. And what would that report be? Be pretty intense. But you're from a different planet. You're from a planet that is pure love, light, and joy right now, okay? Just kind of like bright, happy. People are hugging. People are nuzzling. I like nuzzling. You see animals nuzzle in nature videos. They walk up to each other and they scrunch their noses up against each other. I like that. And you know what? We're animals, so what am I talking about? Why am I separating it, right? We are not separate from those animals that nuzzle. We are animals that can nuzzle. Yeah, if you're with someone now and you can nuzzle them, maybe hit pause and go nuzzle them. I don't know, or wait. It's not that long a podcast, half an hour. You can go nuzzle right after. Maybe that's your mission. Go nuzzle people after this with consent, if you're allowed to, if they're nearby. If you're alone, then go write a journal entry about nuzzling someone later. Yeah, and then fold that journal up, put it under your pillow, and sleep on top of it and have nice dreams about nuzzling when, as if you're looking forward to the next time you will be able to get to do something like that. It's pleasant. You're like a little groundhog, or a little monkey, or a little vole. Is a vole a groundhog? It doesn't matter. We are all voles and groundhogs. We are all one. We are all part of nature. We are all part of the universe. And we are all creatures that nuzzle. Planets probably nuzzle each other in far-off galaxies, and we don't even know it. Probably some million light years in the distance in our grand universe. In a totally different galaxy. There's a bunch of nuzzling planets right now, and they rub against each other, and like the highest mountain of the planet nuzzles against the highest mountain of another planet. And this is like a solar system that has like a really weird bunch of trajectory of the planets so that they can get that close to each other. I don't know. They have a different sort of gravity than our solar system does, and the planets nuzzle against each other and they go, nice to see you. You're the best. You're the best. No, you're the best. Nice to see you. It's always nice to see you. And then they go on like that. We're in sort of I think that's sort of the situation here in the Milky Way. Is our solar system inside the Milky Way galaxy is cold. We have to be like a sort of intergalactic 6 feet apart from each other right now. The way our planets are separated from each other, we're not allowed to nuzzle yet, but I'm sure Earth misses Mars, and Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, whatever, they would love to get to hang out together. So they're in the same situation as us, the planets of our solar system. They have to go inside themselves right now, and they can't maybe nuzzle every one that they want to, so they think happy thoughts of it, and they keep it warm, and they bring it down into their chest, and they hold it hard in their heart. And yes, every planet has a heart, and they write it in their journal, like I said, they save it. It's like, and they say Jim Carrey wrote a check for whatever, to be a millionaire someday, and then lo and behold, he became a lucky duck millionaire by being a goofball. Well, that's like us. I write a check for nuzzling people, hugging and nuzzling into the future, and hopefully we will all be able to cash that check ASAP. So you're feeling good. I'm glad. I'm happy about that. I know you're feeling nice because you're listening to Happy Good. And this is a place where you're supposed to just, forget it, feel good, feel fresh. Like here's a good feeling that someone reminded me of. Like you just got out of the shower, you're in no rush, and you got your robe on, and you're fresh and clean as a whistle. All right? Spick and span. You feel like a dentine ice. Some kind of some kind of fresh, winter fresh gum. Who makes that? I love that. Winter fresh is my favorite flavor. That's how your whole body feels. Like you just bit into some winter fresh. And I'm sorry, I don't want to offend anybody. I'm sure there are some spearmint people out there or some cinnamon blast or whatever. But for me, it's winter fresh. And you sit on the couch, fresh out and clean out of the shower. So Fresh and So Clean by Outkast is probably about coming right out of the shower if you think about it. And you go and sit on the couch and you just be. And that's what we all want to do as much as we can. Just be, right, guys? And we're on the couch just being like a chewing blast of winter fresh gum. And that's how we feel. And it's crisp, and maybe a window is open so you can feel the fresh air coming in. And you're in no rush. You got nowhere to go, right? You gotta sit around and enjoy yourself. You can do whatever you want. You can play Zelda. You can watch Ozark, although I don't know why you would. I've watched all 3 seasons, and I feel like Hollywood is making fun of me at this point. But you can do whatever you want. You can eat a bowl of fresh, when you just clean here's the thing. We're grapes. You ever get a bowl of grapes and you put the grapevine in the bowl with all the 25 grapes attached to it or something? A good amount. Big one. And you just wash them all with cold water, and so they're wet and juicy. Wow, we're grapes. We just doused ourselves in the water, and we're fresh. So we got a fresh person on the couch here, fully clean, spick and span in a robe, fresh air coming in the window, with a big bowl of nice cold grapes. What beats that? Absolutely nothing. Us and the grapes are one. Fresh crispness. Nom nom nom. You can't beat that. You cannot beat that. If anybody tries to challenge that, just laugh. Next time in real life when you're out there and someone's in their head and they're in a weird bad mood, like we all get, it's okay. But they're projecting their bad mood onto you, or some sort of fear or insecurity or inferiority complex, some sort of status thing, anything. Just take it for a sec, recognize where they're coming from, and go, ha ha ha. Pal, I need to remind you something before you continue venting your frustrations at me or using me as a scapegoat or whatever. I gotta tell you, you need to remember that we are all nude people and wrapped up in house coats, all fresh and cozy, and we're eating cold, wet grapes like a freaking Roman emperor or empress, whichever you prefer, pal, dude. So, how do you feel about that? And if, we always come up against these type of people, the people that want to fight your imagination, the people that want to fight your creativity. They're not free like us sometimes, and it's okay. They could be. It takes a lot longer for some people. We're not trying to do a good versus bad here. We're not trying to do we are right, they are wrong, we are good, they are evil. That doesn't exist. We are all one. But you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes it takes those people longer to get to certain realizations or feelings, or it takes them a long time to allow themselves to feel free to be one with their emotions, or opinions aren't theirs, but they've been taught to be and believe. And it takes a long time for a lot of us to get out of that sometimes, and that comes a lot from fear. But they will say this to you, I don't have grapes. I'm not in a robe. So what you're saying is a BS. And then you're like, okay, so I gotta get into yes, I know I'm not actually eating grapes right now or in a robe right now, but you can do that. And when you do that, you feel that that is the pinnacle of all, because we can do whatever we want. And when we do that, that is the magical moment that I've hold on to, because it's a spark. It's a light inside me. It's the calmness. It's the relaxation pinnacle. It is peak who I am and who I want to be. So yeah, you and I are standing on the corner now because we bumped into each other on the street. So what? It doesn't mean that we are not the people, fresh, clean, out of the shower, in the robe, sitting on the couch, breeze coming in the window, eating a bowl of fresh grapes. I am that person. You can be that person. You don't have to be afraid to go back to those times. And okay, robe and grapes is specific. You might be projecting that onto somebody now. It can be their spot. It can be their thing. Their thing could be, top of a cliff, looking down over a vast valley, and the sun is setting, and it's beautiful, and there's not much in view in the valley. There's a farm way off in the distance, and there's a road way, 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 way off in the distance, but it's seldom traveled. Very few cars. Not a busy place, and it's quiet. And you're literally the lord of the mountain at this point. And that's how you feel. And the sun is setting. And nobody is there to bother you. No boss is ordering you around. You're free. And you are one with everything around you. You feel it. You're a creature on a giant creature that's in some sort of giant mass that we don't even understand really what it is yet. And it's magical, and that's all you need to know is magical. So you bump into this person who's in a negative space on the corner of the street, and they're giving you a hassle about something. Well, you know who you are? You're like this. Or you're like this. Oh, I know you. You're always like this. And you go, hey, listen. You don't need to talk to me like this, because we are all just sitting in robes on the couch eating a bowl of fresh grapes. And they go, what the heck are you talking about, man? I am not eating bowl of grapes in a robe. And you go, yeah, but are you standing on a cliff looking over a giant valley as the sun sets? And maybe that's the one, right? And so then you strike a chord and they go, yeah, I've done that. I like that. And then you go, okay, good. Well, then stay there for a moment. Remember that. Feel it. And let it reprogram you right now. Let it clean out all this garbage that you're spewing at me. Because I barely even know you, man. I'm going to block you on Twitter. Anyways. There you go. Easy to do. Easy peas. Because the mind is the power. We have no power. But that's wrong. We have all the power. Because we are the mind. The mind has the power. And we can clean it up. And we can organize it. And we can make it, we can make it calm, and we can make it realize things from outside perspective, We could look at things objectively, and we can make everything funny, we could laugh, we could relax, and we can find joy in everything. I remember watching the movie The Long Goodbye with, it was Robert Altman, coming off of the hit of MASH, and Elliot Gould was the star, and Elliot Gould plays the coolest mumblecore detective. And early on in the movie, he gets locked up for something. I can't remember the details. But as he's leaving prison, he talks to this guy who, like, we didn't see their relationship. But he's leaving prison, and he says to his buddy goes, "Hey, you're lucky you're getting out." And it was just like a temporary jail. But Elliot Gould, or I guess he's Detective Marlowe. I think it's Detective Marlowe. He says to the guy, "Now remember, something about you're only in prison in your body's only in prison, not your mind. They can't lock you up in here," type of thing. Like, and now that always sat with me I saw that movie about 15 years ago or so. I always say 15 arbitrarily. It could have been 16. It could have been 14. But I saw it a long time ago. And that expression stuck with me razor sharp right away. It just pierced me like, pew, because I've always been interested in being able to control like fears and anxieties and panic, etc. and stuff like that. And that felt like the confidence that Detective Marlowe said that to the other prisoner meant that he was pretty confident with that kind of idea himself. And it was such a kind way to hopefully try and cheer someone up who's going to face probably longer time in prison than he was. Now, I totally understand that if you're leaving prison and you're free now, it's easy for you to say that to somebody else who isn't about to experience the freedom that you are about to. I totally understand that. So it's kind of like, yeah, easy for you to say, Marlowe, as he leaves. But even if it is going to be more difficult for the person that is in prison for the longer amount of time, isn't that a nice thought that you can always bring yourself back to? And that's kind of where we are now. We're in a place where we are feeling trapped a lot and feeling powerless, and we have our whole minds to do whatever we want. We have the freedom within our mind. And I think I talked about this last time. Like, the inside our mind is already an infinite vast universe, and I really don't feel like I need every episode to get to this point, but it's a nice way to remember to relax. So there you go. You bump into a negative person, and sometimes I feel like when you're in a negative spot, and I know that I can be pretty bitter and angry and cynical sometimes, I find that a lot of that kind of stuff sits right at the frontal lobe there, right at the top, right just behind the forehead. It's sort of like an angry truck driver, or like a wrecking ball driver who's just like, and he's taking a swinging wrecking ball and smashing everything in front of him fast. And that's kind of like your frontal lobe push anger glowing right there. And I don't know how the brain works, all right? I'm a fool, to be honest. You're listening to a fool, to be honest. But to me, it feels like an angry man driving a wrecking ball machine is pushing forward in the frontal lobes and driving you forward. And the place in Happy Good Land, even where I'm coming from, to say, maybe let's call it cloud dogs again. I like the word cloud dogs because it's like soft and free. I think you heard the explanation last time, but I feel like to get to each episode, we want to always try and remember that we can get back to the back of the mind, the deeper parts where we're sitting. There's a person bigger than all of us sitting in the back, deep, dark reaches of our mind, constantly watching people like the angry. Man, this is starting to sound like Inside Out, that Pixar movie. But there are different, obviously, emotions, and I think they're really good at characterizing that. But there's a giant, bigger one, bigger than all of us, sitting in the back, deep, dark reaches, the unconscious of our mind, looking with a little knowing smirk at the angry wrecking ball driver, who's at the front of the brain, in the frontal lobe. And we want to remember that. We always want to get back to that. We go, okay, so there's that emotion driving me right now. And it's hard sometimes. I know it's hard when you're caught up with it. There could be so many stressors out there that are just bugging us. Like, if you have kids, some of my friends have kids, and you cook them this amazing meal, and you know it's amazing. You put money into the meal. You bought the good quality ingredients. You know, you got meat from Roe. You got Cobb's bread. You got fresh fruit and vegetables from a fresh market, not some grocery store. For those of you that are not in my immediate neighborhood, you don't know what Roe Farms or Cobb's bread is. But those are my go-to. Right now during the quarantine, I wait in long lines to get groceries from there, okay? And I put down like $100 to stock us up on goodies. It's like one of those places. Anyways, you got the best ingredients ever. Fresh veggies, fresh meat, fresh whatever your diet is. You got the best, and you know where to get it. And the kids don't even try it at first. They go, I hate this. I don't like this. Well, how do you know you don't? And I know it's crazy. We're all cliches. We all grow up to be the parents that the same cliches happen for every generation. It's insane. But it drives you nuts. And what are you going to do? It is frustrating. It's not that it's actually not frustrating. It is frustrating. But what do you do with those frustrations? Right? It's, you feel it. You tip your hat to it. You go, I know you. I recognize you. I know. It's happening again. Can you believe it? You sit and have a conversation with that frustration. You go, okay, kids, you're not going to eat your dinner that I spent an hour preparing and spent money on preparing this delicious, incredible meal that, I'm going to enjoy, at least. Hold on a sec, though. I'll be right back. And you go, and the spiritual version of you, like your aura, sort of gets out of your body and goes with like a spiritual manifestation of your frustration. And you guys go and have like a ginger tea in these two sort of like beautiful living room chairs. And whether you have them in your house or not, it doesn't matter, because now you're in a different place. You're in a different realm, a different dimension. And you're sitting in these lovely, comfortable chairs, like you know what I'm picturing now, like a study, kind of like a fireplace is roaring, and you have tea. And you go, frustration, how are you doing? I haven't seen you in a bit. I mean, maybe these days we see each other a lot more now, but we don't actually catch up. Let's talk to each other. Let's catch up. And frustration's like, you know what? It's nice that you're actually engaging with me. You're talking to me. Because you're not like, you're not just like mad at me and dismissing me and ignoring me and being like, oh, yeah, I hate this. I hate this so much. I'm ignoring this. I want to deny it. It's nice to be fully engaged with you. Well, that's what, I guess I gotta wrap it up, but I think that's where I would like to get to today. Just, I hope you had a good time relaxing, and, these negative aspects we can't deny. It's all part of relaxing and feeling good is, acknowledging them and having fun with them, having fun with these emotions and these kind of things that you would usually want to deny and ignore. You engage with them head on, and you have fun, and you make jokes, and you take the piss out of it. You laugh. What are you going to do? The kids aren't eating the damn food. Well, you know what? Except for the little areas where they goobered on them, I'm going to eat this food. I'll eat it again. They can have crackers with peanut butter, whatever. They'll still grow up strong somehow. I'll sneak some food into their mouths when they're sleeping. Anyways, it was a lovely time spending. Don't sneak food into your kids' mouths when they're sleeping. That's really dangerous. It was a really nice time catching up with you guys again. I know it's a one-sided convo. I know I sound nuts, but it means a lot to me that I know that people are listening and enjoying themselves and laughing and relaxing and having a good time. So, also, I would like to say the first bonus interview is out on the Patreon, and it's an hour-long gab with Graham Clark, who to me is, I admitted that I'm like I could be angry and bitter sometimes. That's totally true. This podcast is just as much for me as it is for anybody else. I clearly like working on this stuff personally, but Graham he was born a kind, positive man. He's such a lovely guy. And it's so funny because years ago, about 2012 or 13 or something, 2012, I think, a friend of mine said, you have to meet Graham Clark. You guys would really get along. And over the years, we started getting to know each other more by doing comedy shows and podcasts out in Vancouver and in Toronto. And we do really get along. And so I was really happy that he's the first special bonus interview guest for Happy Good. So check that out. It's on Patreon. We talk for an hour. It's very relevant stuff and very positive, funny, goofy stuff too, silly stuff. And otherwise, don't worry about it. These are weekly. And thank you so much for joining me. And I will talk to you again. See you soon. Thanks.
This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network.